Hello, I'm back with the video. I know I didn't post last week and it's my fault. I was having a troubling week and I've been feeling unmotivated and emotional because of things that I'm healing from, but I'm here making a video. I'm just getting back up again and I'm sorry about that for not posting last week. I'm not gonna get into last week because that's the past. I'm just gonna jump into the topic, but I'm sorry about that again. But I'm here with the video with the topic, and this idea came up to me 2 weeks ago on Saturday, and I knew it had to be on YouTube because it's long. It wouldn't fit in a TikTok video. So the topic is different reasons people lie, and I had studied this because I noticed myself struggling with lying in the past. And this is something that I studied in the beginning of this year because that's when I started realizing that I was struggling with it. And I had to reflect. And I had to use Google for this. And I looked up why do people lie. So I used Google for this and it gave me like a list of reasons why people lie. And I also use a little bit of ChatGPT for this as well, for some examples that I struggled with and thinking of. So yeah. So I'm just going to jump into it now. So key reasons people lie. This is what Google gave me. Number 1, self-preservation. Number 2, social acceptance. Number 3, protecting others. Number 4, emotional regulation. Number 5, low self-esteem. Number 6, thrill-seeking. Okay. So number 1, self-preservation is meaning avoiding negative consequences like punishment, blame, or embarrassment. And these easy examples I can give, like accidentally, is let's say you're in class, you're in school, and you see your classmates playing with each other, like they're throwing a little eraser at each other, and one of them, they throw it, but like all of a sudden it starts bouncing off somewhere else, and then it hits the teacher, and the teacher feels it and she notices it, and now she looks around the class asking who did it, and the class is all quiet, and the person who did it doesn't say anything because they're afraid of punishments and blame, so they keep quiet. Or let's say you accidentally left the stove on in the kitchen and your parents are asking who left the stove on. They're asking you and your siblings, and you don't say anything because you're afraid of punishments. Or a silly example is like a person farting in class and everybody's quiet and they're looking around like who did it, and the person that did it doesn't say anything because they're afraid of embarrassment. And yeah, so those are like silly easy examples that I can give. And one that's on purpose is let's say one of your siblings steals $20 from your mom's purse to go to this event that they're having, and their friends are going, so they try to go, and your mom notices that the money is gone, and so now she has you guys in this room asking where her $20 went or who took it, because she knows that it was like one of you guys, because it happened at home. So yeah, that's one that happened. That's an example I can give of it happening on purpose. And the second one is social acceptance, meaning trying to fit in or impress others by presenting a better image of themselves. Now this one I got from ChatGPT, and it says a person pretending to like something that they really don't just to fit in. And this can be let's say a person in their friend group says that they're into horror movies, but they're really not. But they say it because they don't want to be seen as weak, that they can't handle it, so they pretend to by having this image like, oh, like I can handle anything. Like these horror movies don't scare me at all. it's the exact opposite for them. Or let's say a person getting invited to go drink because everybody's gonna go do it, and they don't want to do it, but they do it just to fit in. So there they go, like lying in a way, or going clubbing or partying or whatever it is. So basically, the intention is to lie just to fit in or impress others. And yeah, that's all I have for that one that I can think of. And number 3 is protecting others. This one, I noticed myself falling into that one when I was reflecting on why I struggled with lying and couldn't be honest. So protecting others, meaning telling a lie to shield someone else from harm or discomfort. And an easy example I can give is a judge letting a guilty person go, maybe because the judge was bribed with money, or the judge knows the guilty person personally and they don't want them to face their consequences, so they go out free while the innocent person takes their punishment instead. And I have an example for this one because I have lied in this area, and I have told a story where half of it was truth and half of it was lies. And I'm gonna say something else because I know this can fall into a narcissist doing this. It does. But I'm gonna give an example of a person lying because they are, or a person lying but they're not. So usually a narcissist, I noticed this, that when they tell a story, obviously half truth, half lies, they always have a person in the story that they are accusing them of something. And that is the area and where they are lying. They're accusing a person of something that they didn't do. Now, in my scenario, I was telling a story, I was the story where it's true, but the other half, I didn't speak up of what else had happened, of what else this person did. And that's where I start lying, because that's also lying, not saying the whole story, only saying half truth. That's lying. So yeah, that's where I fell into, and I noticed myself in that. But eventually, I told my parents what happened, the whole story. So yeah, that happened. And I know that I had lied in that area because I was afraid of how this situation would turn into, where authorities coming in and jumping in, of it turning into a serious situation. And that's why I lied. That's what I noticed. But yeah, and I think that was it for that one. Oh wait, no. But yeah, I think some of us can fall into that as well. But when we do that for people, we think we're helping them, but we're not actually, because some people have to learn the hard way of facing their own consequences for their own actions. And we think jumping in is helping them because we don't want them to face the discomforts. And also because we have learned it without facing the consequences, if that makes sense. We have learned it early, we caught it in time before it getting worse. But some people don't learn like that. Some people have to learn the hard way by facing their own consequences, because sometimes that's the only way how people can learn. And when we step in by protecting them from their consequences, then they're not going to learn. And because they're not facing consequences for it, they're gonna think oh, it's okay to do this then because nothing bad happens to me, when in reality that's not the truth, that there are consequences. But yeah, some people have to learn the hard way. Some of us didn't, and that's good. And it's we want to avoid that for others, but unfortunately it's not the case for everyone. Some people have to go that route to learn, and we just have to let it be, let them be on their own journey of learning. And yeah, that's it for protecting others. Number 4, emotional regulation, meaning using lies to avoid conflicts, difficult conversations, or expressing uncomfortable feelings. Now, I know this one, I had fallen into this one. I believe a lot of us can fall into this one because an easy example I can give is a person asking you if you're fine and you say yes when you're really not. And this is basically like avoiding vulnerability, especially if you struggle with that you would see yourself falling into this one, emotional regulation, lying. So this is like a personal example from me, from my experience. I had pushed some family members away, certain family members, and it was my fault. So my parents, they would ask like, how come I don't hang out with my family members anymore, like these certain people? And I would say, oh, because we went our own way now, like we just separated naturally, when in reality that wasn't the case. I had pushed them away, and it was because I had a fear of rejection and abandonment, so I would push people away before they pushed me away or before they would leave me. And I didn't tell them because I didn't want to have like that conversation and, you know, telling them that I had trauma because when I found out I had trauma, I kept it to myself. I didn't tell anyone right away. I kept it to myself for a while, but eventually I did tell somebody. And eventually, like, I did tell one of my parents, like, what actually happened. And I know I had lied and didn't tell the truth because, you know, I was afraid of conflict, and I really wanted to avoid expressing uncomfortable feelings with what was going on, and also avoiding those difficult conversations. But yeah, eventually I did tell them what happened. And a second example is I had shared the gospel with one of my family member, and we were talking about the commandments, and we were talking about lying, because, you know, lying is a sin. But he would say, yeah, he lies, but he would do it with the right intentions. Like, he wasn't trying to do it to harm anybody, but he would do it to basically avoid hurting a person's feelings. And so an example I guess I have for that one is let's say a couple, the wife is like not happy with their husband because their husband just works, and they get home and eat whatever their wife makes and then just relax in bed without helping around the house a bit. And the wife is like upset with that a little bit or bothered by it, but she doesn't say anything about it, so she pretends to like keep the peace, pretend that between them, like pretending everything is fine when in reality it's not. And she does that because she doesn't want to cause conflicts, so she avoids conflicts, avoids the difficult conversations, and, you know, expressing uncomfortable feelings about how she's really feeling, like saying like she's avoiding expressing how she's feeling, because she could say, I'm tired of I feel like I'm doing this by myself and I'm getting tired, if I'm being honest. Like, she's afraid of admitting that because of maybe how her husband might react, so that's why she lies instead. And that does sound like a good reason to lie, but it's not, because externally, like on the outside, it seems like you guys have peace, but deep down inside you don't, and that's only destroying you. So that's the example I can give for that one. And I have read this also in a book. It was a Christian book, and I don't remember the title, and these are not the exact words, but I'm just gonna say it the way how I remembered it, and I wrote it down here. I put, I'd rather you be honest and it hurt me than you lie and lose my trust. And that one really spoke to me because it's true. Like, if you want to if you want to keep a real genuine connection, you have to be honest, like even if it hurts. Lying to people just to make them feel good is where you're gonna lose trust. A person is gonna lose their trust in you. And that really like spoke to me because that was like real and deep for me. I don't know why, but yeah. And I think that's it for that one. Number 5 is low self-esteem, meaning lying to compensate for feelings of inadequacy or to appear more competent. And this is from ChatGPT. It shared not manipulation, but lying to cover insecurity. It also said exaggerate achievements, hide mistakes or failures, pretending to be happier or more confident than they are. So an example is pretending to have experience on something that they don't have. And it can be like a person doing their resume and they say they're trying to apply for a wedding job, but they have no experience, but they say that they do on their resume just to lie to seem like they do have experience, but they really don't. Or it can be like a person at work, they're just there. They don't know what they're doing, but they pretend they do, if that makes sense. Like maybe if you've gone to a place and you know there's people there working, but some people are there but they don't really know what they're doing, if that makes sense. They just pretend they do, but they really don't. Like they're just hiding it. And also, easy example, like let's say, I know I had fallen into this one actually, like silly example, like me in math class, and the teacher asked like, you guys have any questions, like feel free to ask me for help. And so I remember this one time where I was in math class and I was just looking at the assignment, like just reading it, and I wasn't really moving my pencil or doing anything. I was just looking at it, and the teacher comes to me, like she's walking around the class and she's behind me, and she asked, do I need help? And I said no, when in reality I do need help because I don't understand it. But I don't say anything because I guess like I'm afraid to appear like not smart, but like dumb because I don't understand it. And yeah, that was me in school. I wouldn't ask the teacher for help. But yeah, it's like appearing to understand when I really don't. And I think that's it for that one. Number 6 is thrill seeking, meaning some people may lie for the excitement of getting away with it. Now for this one, to be honest, all I can think of for this one is a narcissistic person doing this. I don't know if there's a person that does it without I don't know if a person would do it without being a narcissist, if that makes sense. And if it is the case, I don't have an example for that one then. But this is something that I have experienced with the person since I've bumped into people that were narcissists. And ChatGPT gave me this. It shared this. Exaggerating adventures or experiences, making up stories for shock value or admiration, smiling or feeling energized while telling an obvious exaggeration, feeling disappointed when the lie doesn't get a reaction. So this one, I remember this person would tell me stories of what happened to them in their childhood, and I believe them, because in my mind I was like, well, why would a person lie about these things? So I believed it. And they would always keep talking about it, and because they would always keep talking about it, it caught me into thinking like, wow, like did really happen to them? But they only kept talking about it because they wanted to see my reaction, to see if I believed them. And because I believed them, they kept talking about it more and more, and it's like how far they can go with getting away with it, if that makes sense. So that's what happened to me. Well, that's what I've experienced with that. And it's like, well, now I know. At least I know now. Like, whatever has happened to me in the past, like, I've learned now and what to avoid. Because now it's like you can tell if a person's lying. If a person ever tells you a story and you have a feeling like they're lying about it, they want... I guess a simple way to tell is by not giving them a reaction. And if you don't give them a reaction and they're bothered by it, then that would tell you something about them lying. that would be a clue of them lying. So yeah, I think that's all I have for that one. I don't have more for that one. Honestly, yeah, I only see a narcissist person doing that. I don't know if a person would do that even if they are not a narcissist, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's all I have for today. And I wrote this for myself. I put, don't do things that will cause you to lie if you're not going to be honest. Yeah. I wrote some Bible verses. It's a lot, but I'm not going to share it all. So I wrote, truthful words stand the test of time, but lies are soon exposed. Proverbs 12:19. The Lord detests lying lips, but he delights in those who tell the truth. Proverbs 19:22. And a false witness will not go unpunished, and he who breathes out lies will perish. Proverbs 19:9. A truthful witness saves lives, but one who breathes out lies is deceitful. Proverbs 14:25. Does anyone want to live a life that is long and prosperous? Then keep your tongue from speaking evil and your lips from telling lies. Psalms 34:12-13. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Proverbs 18:21. And this is pretty true. Like, when a person lies, or like they try to get away with it, and they do, right? Like, it's like after they commit the crime or the wrongdoing, it's like they don't really have peace now going on, like moving in life, because now they're afraid like of getting caught, and so they don't have peace. And I noticed that, like, I thought about it, and it's like, wow, like, it's crazy, and it's true. Because it's like a person going out in the middle of the night to go to a party, and obviously, you know, no parents, or at least most parents, wouldn't want their child going out so late at night. But they do, they sneak out at night, and, you know, they go to the party at night, and it's so big, a lot of people in the house partying with a lot of lights going on, and, you know, drinking, smoking, clubbing, and all that, or dancing. And, you know, people, they have their phones out and they start recording and they post it on social media, and now it's all over the place. And then once, like, the party is over, now that person is afraid of, you know, being seen on social media, of being in that party, of them being caught, if that makes sense. And this is something that I worked on. Well, not that I did that, but that was just like an example. But yeah, it's true. It's crazy. I have been working on this because like it's a lot more peaceful, and like you have nothing to hide because you're always being real, true, and honest about whatever it is you had to say or share. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna end the video here. That's all I have for today. This was pretty long. I hope you guys have a nice rest of your day, and I hope you guys stay safe. I'll see you guys in the next one.